Me and my lads just came back from the Hamptons on Highway 77 with those 10 herbs and spices while boozing out to Return of the Mac. And guess who? Keenan Allen's back with Derwin James bringing the Zach and the tack of the lightning aback. Ow. Woo, let's go. We got the Los Angeles Chargers today. I'm ready to go with this one. As you can't tell, I'm quitting my day job.
I could easily quit my job. I'm doing it.
I'm freestyling all day.
Easy, big fella. Do not quit your job.
But starting off with this offensive line of the tackle position, it's one of the best in the NFL. Rank him at number 2. You got Rashawn Slater, just got paid. Let's go, under $14 million. And you got Joe Ole over in the opposite end. So bookend tackles, no problem. This is an A-plus ranking very easily. And they got good swing tackle ability here with Jamari Sawyer, who can play inside out. You got Trey Pipkins. It's going to come down to, and I want to talk about this all together in terms of who's going to make the roster. I think 9 offensive linemen is my guess here. And on the interior, you got Zion Johnson, Bradley Boozman, Mekhi Becton. I ranked them right 21 and 23rd, respectively. And in terms of depth-wise, you got Andre James, Jamari Sawyer. Who is going to be the 9th guy? Because right there, you got Pipkins, Sawyer, James as guys I feel like make the roster. That 9th guy, if they want to keep that dude, it's going to be between Nelson, Kaltenberger, who had a really good Detroit Lions game. He's a guy with some upside. And you got Branson Taylor, a draft pick. So, I mean, Kaltenberger could be a draft or could be a practice squad candidate. Same thing with Ryan Nelson. I have some really good things about Ryan Nelson. But that is ultimately my guess. Is like one of those guys ends up making the roster, and then you're going to have some practice squad candidates for right now. In general, though, this offensive line should be pretty good. I want to see Zion Johnson take that next step this season, of course. Bradley Boozman, solid player, and Mekhi Becton was really good for the Eagles last year. And at that guard position, kind of revitalized his career. This offense line should be a top 15 unit. And then on to the wide receiving position here. And Keenan Allen's back. Let's go. He's got it wasn't the same. Keenan Allen's got to be in that Charger uniform. So glad he's back here. You got Ladd McConkey going into year number 2. You got Quentin Johnson, right? Will he, which Quentin Johnson are we going to see? That's going to be huge. However, they got some good competition this year, and that's why I rank this wide receiving room above average at 15, and it could be better than that depending on how it all comes together. But Trey Harris, I think by midseason, like Ladd McConkey, hopefully he gets going and gets a spark. And then Keandre Lambert-Smith, he was a dude that I'm not surprised at all, kind of came out and got a lot of people's attention. Super underrated cat, formerly at Penn State, was their best receiver. I'm like, oh, they're losing him. Like, come on, it's going to be really rough. And he goes to Auburn. The passing attack wasn't great. So I am not surprised at all by Lambert-Smith getting some hype now. He deserved it. He should have been higher in the draft. And then it's going to come down to if they want to keep 6 wide receivers. They may not. I mean, it's going to come also, special teams is going to be a big part of this too, because Darius Davis is really their best special team return man. However, they do have Nyheim Hines now, who could fill those responsibilities. And they may say to themselves, look, we feel a little bit better about his role on the offense side of the ball compared to Darius Davis. So they're going to have to make a decision there. And then you got some practice squad candidates, of course, like Brandon Rice, and beyond these guys, Jalen Johnson, Luke Graham, Des Fitzpatrick, et cetera, to watch out for, the Jackson Campbell. So wide receiver-wise, I think it's looking pretty dang good. They'll just have a little bit of competition for special teams with Smith, Harris, Allen, Johnson, and McConkey locked in. On to the tight end room here. I think that there are 3 guys locked at the moment between Conklin, Gadsden, and Disley. And then Fisk, to me, is kind of a lock as well. Like, I would more than likely, especially with the way he blocks and the mentality that Harbaugh has out here, like he's just going to be one of those guys, those grinders. So I'm shocked. I'd be shocked if he's cut. And they would definitely try to keep him. So my guess is they keep 4 tight ends, and they roll with that. So this tight end room for me is pretty much set. I rank it at 28th. It's not an elite unit, but I do think it'll be fine. Orlando Gadsden is definitely a flanker dude. I liked Gadsden a ton. Like, he is not the most athletic guy, but he wins at the route stem consistently. So that's the most important thing, and he's going to be able to create some separation and be a good receiving option for them and to learn behind Conklin and Disley. And he's going to give them a different role than what they have here in this offense, too. Now, running back-wise, they're looking really good. So, yes, it's 22nd. Omari Hampton gives them top 10 in the NFL upside. You got Najee Harris, gives them a good floor. You got Haskins, who's a great special teamer. Those 3 guys are locked in for me. Do they keep a 4th guy? I mean, Scott Matlock plays D-tackle, but he's their fullback. So I think he gets a roster spot here. And then if they want to keep a 5th guy in this room, it would come down to Nyheim Hines. And then we talked about with Darius Davis for special teams purposes. I think Rocket Sanders is going to be more of a practice squad candidate. Same thing with Kamani Vidal and Jarrett Patterson, definitely practice squad candidates for this football team. Overall, running back room looks really good with Omari Hampton and Najee Harris. That 1-2 punch should be very, very good this season. Quarterback-wise, It's obviously Justin Herbert, the 10 herbs and spices filling in this season. He was so good last year. And you got Trey Lance, who looked great in the preseason Hall of Fame game. I mean, let's go, Trey Lance. I'm sure Harbaugh's like, stick it to the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you fired me. I'm going to take Trey Lance. I'm going to turn him into a good quarterback. And they could end up flipping him for a 3rd-round pick at some point. Who knows? Desperate quarterback needy teams. I do think there's a chance they still keep 3 quarterbacks because of Trey Lance now. So, I mean, before this, I would say Taylor Heineke is the clear-cut backup, and I still think he's probably the backup if Herbert were to go down. However, with Trey Lance, if he continues that play, he could end up being, if they just keep 2 quarterbacks, it's definitely possible because they're going to have to make some tough roster decisions elsewhere and how many they want to keep. So it could be just 2. Maybe Lance ends up being the backup this season with a little more upside there, but Heineke is a solid backup. Let's go on to the defense now, and we start off with the defensive line here. The edge room, I rank at 16th, and the interior at 30th. The interior, I do think coaching-wise, they'll figure it out. They've got some big bodies between Jamari Caldwell, Tier Tart, and then you got some pass rushing here with Hand and Ogbonia. It's going to come down to some other guys stepping up, right? Naquan Jones, we need to see I think those 5 guys are probably locked into a roster spot. And besides that, maybe Nesta Jade Silvera, who just got picked up. Matlock, I listed as a fullback, but he'll take one of those spots as well. Maybe Justin Abugby, he's probably more of a practice squad candidate. Same thing with Christopher Hinton. It's this interior defense line is my biggest question mark on this defense as a whole right now. It could be a bit of a weakness, stopping the run, and it was just a bit of a problem in preseason. So let's go on to the edge room here, which I rank at 16. Khalil Mack, Tui Pelotu, Bud Dupree, Kyle Kennard to be the main rotation this year. I think those 4 guys are locked into the roster. Caleb Murphy could give Bud Dupree some run, like maybe, right? I mean, Caleb Murphy was really the most impactful guy in the first on the Hall of Fame game, and depending on how he looks in preseason, if they only want to keep 4 edge rushers, then Murphy's going to be competing with Dupree, in my opinion. I think Kennard ends up making the roster, 4th-round pick, and with his upside. So their edge room is looking okay. Obviously, you got Khalil Mack, who's still playing at a high level, and Tui Pelotu, who's looking for that big time out as a starter, full-time starter. On to the linebacking core here. And this is another area that's a little bit of a concern for me. It would be my second biggest concern on this defense side of the ball is the linebacking room. You got Dan Henley, Denzel Perriman now with the weapons thing. I hear they're contending that and everything, but it is something to be mindful of. So I do list Junior Colson as the current starter. I would guess, though, as long as everything's clear, Perriman ends up being the day 1 starter with Henley. Now, you got Troy Dye, who's a good rotational player, kind of came on for them. And as I mentioned with Junior Colson, like he's got to play better. And it didn't look great in the preseason. So far, he's got a lot to prove out here. He's got to show some things going into year number 2. However, those 4 guys, roster locks. Now, Phillips, to me, could be a 5th guy. If they're going to keep 5, I would go with Phillips here with his special teams ability. Overall, this linebacking core definitely is going to have to prove it. I think Henley's a really good player. Perriman's a solid dude that can start and can play football. Colson's got to step up this season. Like, that's going to be the key for this linebacking core to take that next step. Cornerback-wise, I rank him at 23rd. Even though it's low, I think it's low. I think they're going to be just fine. Like Jesse Minter, Jim Harbaugh, it's just an innate trait that they have is being able to develop these corners in the secondary. So while it's not the highest ranking, I think they'll be just fine. And Tarheeb still looking to take that ascension this year into maybe even being a superstar type of corner. Dante Jackson coming in here, I think is going to be a perfect scheme fit for them. You got Cam Hart going into year number 2. There's a lot of youth with Nico Reed, who looked excellent there in the Hall of Fame game. I hear nothing but great things. And I've watched him a lot at Oregon. I'm a Ducks fan. He's underrated. So he's a dude that could end up being a starter for them, especially if you have injuries. You got Ben St. Juste, who's going to be competing for a roster spot. He may be the dude looking on the outside, looking in right now at this point. Jazir Taylor, special teams, can be a great backup slot for them. And you got Dean Lillard, who also can be a good special teamer for this team. So I think they keep 6 guys here. You're going to have to make a decision. One of these dudes may be on the way out. And then you're going to have some practice squad candidates, of course, like Bridges, Purchase, and et cetera, Oladokin and Rogers. On to the safety room. I rank it at 3rd. This is one of the strongest positional groups besides the tack room, quarterback room, and there's some good positions on this team. It's Loie Gilman and Derwin James, Elijah Molden. And another thing, too, with the slot position, remember, I do list Still there in the slot, but he can play on the outside. He play primarily on the outside. However, you got guys like Molden who could play in the slot but James in the slot. Like, they can get a little versatile depending on the packages and Jesse Minter and what formations, dime packages, et cetera. So fully expect them to keep at least 4 safeties. My guess is 5. So I would say, obviously, James, Gilman, Molden, Jefferson and Mickens. Those would be my 5 guesses there. Mickens for special teams. He made some big-time plays during the preseason game. He's a really good tackler. He's got great athleticism. So he will definitely provide some juice on special teams for them at year 1, and maybe down the line could end up being more of an impact as a rotational player. But Jefferson gives him some good, more experience in the back end too, and they called upon him last season. So he could even be a practice squad candidate that they could call upon for injuries if they only want to keep 4 guys, because I doubt they would let RJ Mickens go to waivers. And then finishing off with the coaching staff, I rank it 5th in the NFL. It's a very good coaching staff. Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, and Greg Roman. There's not much to say here. I don't think they need, to worry too much. Jesse Minter, the job he did last year, and Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman even, I thought did a good job. So, I think this coaching staff all around deserves a top 5, at least a top 10 ranking. So my record prediction here is 10-7 for the Chargers at 12. You could sell me on this team being a Super Bowl contending team. The one thing I would say is, will they have a consistent pass rush week in and week out? Do they have enough depth and, confidence? Do I have enough confidence at the defensive tackle position, stopping the run and stuff like that? It's definitely a question mark for me, and linebacking position to go along with that isn't as good as maybe I'd like. We need to see Junior Colson take that next step. So that's kind of where I'm at. The offense still looks pretty dang good, especially with Keenan Allen right now. They definitely have the ability to be a Super Bowl contending team with Justin Herbert at the helm. They should have a good run game. Let me know what you think. Agree or disagree, though. Los Angeles Chargers, bring in the bolts, and I hope you guys have a good day.